Hello there everybody, welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Paul, thanks for coming. Here at Gary Gwen Music, we normally talk about things like records, guitars, basically anything music related. Although the last video we did talked about a new motorbike and that went down pretty well. So if you've watched that, thank you. If not, go back and take a look, why not? Today, I want to talk about something which I guess is music related, but coming at it from a slightly different angle. I want to talk about hearing loss. Hey, turn that shit up, son. Music's been around me all my life, you know. Some of my first memories, in fact, pretty much all of my earliest memories involve music in one way or another. I was lucky enough to grow up in the 70s. I was born in 1970, which makes me 56 at the point of recording this video. I know I don't look it, do I, with my boyish good looks, but it really is true, trust me, I really am that old. And on the television and on the radio, you'd see and hear bands like, you know, like T-Rex and The Sweet and Bowie, all this exciting stuff. And that's what really captured my imagination as a kid. From the days of sitting watching Top of the Pops on the television or listening to Radio 1, as soon as I heard this exciting stuff, I knew there was nothing else that I wanted to do. And as time went on, it became more and more apparent to me and all those people around me that academically, I was going nowhere. I was just an absolute fucking write-off, you know, bit of a lost cause. My school days were just a waste of time, other than from the point of view of being a bit of a social club, so me and my friends could gather together and, you know, and play songs in the music room. And we spent an awful lot of time in there playing music, very, very badly, but very, very loudly. So thank you, Mr. Thorpe, my old music teacher, if you ever get to see this, if you're still kicking around out there, brother. I owe you a lot for putting up with that shit, and I'm sorry if I abused your ears too much, but we'll get onto my ears in a minute. So if I did abuse your ears, this is payback, okay? So I started playing in bands, doing the rounds, pubs, clubs, as I got older, that sort of thing. And as time went on, stuff got louder, you know, the music got heavier. And it would take its toll. You'd come out of a gig, putting your gear away, putting the stuff in the car or the van, and your ears would be kind of ringing, you know, that horrible whistling noise for ages. But when you're young, you think nothing of that shit, do you? Sleep it off, a couple of days later, it's gone away. You'd go and watch a gig somewhere. I've been to some phenomenally loud gigs over the year. And part of the fun is that the music is that loud, isn't it? Yeah, when it's loud and it's powerful and you can feel it and it's kind of bounding in your chest, it's great. That's exactly what you want when you go to see a gig when you're younger. But it does take its toll, right? So probably for the past 10, maybe 15 years, I've noticed that my hearing has been deteriorating. I've had tinnitus as long as I can remember as an adult, probably from being in my kind of early 20s or so, to the point where for me, with tinnitus, the most horrible thing is to be in somewhere which is completely quiet, because then all you hear is your tinnitus. And for me, the tinnitus isn't so much about the kind of whistly noises, although it's always there. It's like being at an airport and listening to a jet engine spooling up, you know, that kind of roar and that noise is there for me in my ears all the time. And the other one that I get is, it's a bit like somebody having a radio in a room next door, and they're kind of tuning it and it's kind of going on a frequency, and I get that a lot. But it's all self-inflicted, right? Over the years, while I've done this kind of crazy shit to myself and broken my ears beyond repair, it was my fault. I've got to take responsibility for it. I fucking well enjoyed it at the time, right? So who am I to argue now that I'm old and I'm fucking deaf, right? Can't complain, can I? I gave it my best shot and never quite made it to the top in terms of success, but I had a bloody good go on the way, and my ears paid the price. I spent the vast majority of my career as a musician, if you can really call it a career, playing heavy rock music, playing classic rock stuff, you know, classic rock covers. Did some original stuff as well, played a few gigs overseas, did some recording, all that kind of stuff, thoroughly enjoyed myself. But the vast majority of my work was heavy rock stuff. Did that for, I guess, what? 30 odd years, pushing 40 years all told. So that's where the damage came in, isn't it? But listen, when you're playing in a band, in a conventional kind of setting, small settings in particular, the stage setup is generally that as the front man, which would be me, because I spent most of my time singing and playing a bit of rhythm guitar, there'd be me in the middle, guitar player on one side, bass player on the other side, and sat behind you would be the fucking drummer, okay? This is where the damage gets done, isn't it? Because as much as I love drummers, and I've got some great friends that are drummers, and I've been very, very fortunate to work with some really, really good ones. Couple of turkeys as well, okay? So don't think you're all fucking great, okay? Majority of you, good lads. But 30 or 40 years of you boys sitting behind me, knocking the bejesus out of your drums for 2 hours at a stretch, and in particular, bashing those fucking big tin lid they call cymbals, that's where the damage to my hearing's been done. And in recent years, I've noticed my wife saying to me, you know, blah, 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 like wives do. And I'll be going, huh? What? And she'll repeat herself. And this is because, it's not because I'm not listening. You know, I try really hard to listen, especially to my wife, because wives know best, right? But I just can't fucking hear, okay? I've got to the point now where I can't differentiate between certain frequencies and certain noises. If I go into a room where, you know, there's music in the background or there's a lot of people in there and I've got to focus on one particular thing, you may as well just fucking forget it, because I'm fighting a losing battle. I've found myself in the last couple of years, when someone talks to me, I'm watching their lips, you know, as if I can lip read, which obviously I fucking might scratch my head for, as if I can lip read, which, you know, I really can't, but it helps. So I decided, I guess about 10 years or so back, maybe a bit more, to go and get a hearing test done. And I did this at an audiology department and through the National Health Service here in the UK, God bless them. And the lady that I spoke to at the time did the hearing test. They put some headphones on you, sequence of little beeps and noises. You've got to click a button when you can hear them. She said to me, your hearing is kind of borderline. It's just at that point now where you're starting to struggle and you possibly need some help with it. Anyway, me thinking I'm Mr. fucking cool, I came out of that appointment and thought to myself, you know what? Why do I want to wear a fucking hearing aid? You know, my hearing's all right. Fuck it, everything's groovy. We'll carry on regardless. Anyway, fast forward to today, and as I say, now I'm really struggling. So what I decided to do this time was get an appointment with my audiologist and let them check my hearing out properly and just give me the bad news, which I was pretty sure was coming. It's worth saying that during those intervening years between my first audiology test and the most recent one, I did at least try and take things a little bit more seriously from the point of view being on stage. Got myself some decent in-ear monitors, which helped an awful lot. But I found that when I was using them on small stages, in small environments, pubs, clubs, that sort of thing, that everything behind me was just so fucking loud. I was having to crank the volume on them things just as bad as if I was using a wedge monitor on the floor. So that was hurting my ears as well, you know. So I gave it a go, but more often than not, I'd find that using the in-ear monitors, aside from the ridiculous volume I had to have them turned up to, it was a little bit insular, you know. You couldn't get that kind of feedback from the people that were there, you know. You couldn't get that, you know, that response. It was weird. It kind of dampened it down a bit. And I know that most professional musicians these days that play, you know, arenas and big gigs will all use in-ear monitors and that, and there's a kind of big thing about not having, you know, a backline now on stage as well. It's all kind of silent stage stuff, you know, goes through the PA, from, you know, little rigs on the floor and stuff, and it keeps that backline down, which is a great idea, yeah. You know, don't get me wrong, I think keeping a backline quiet is a good idea, but I don't agree with taking it away completely. I think there should at least be something there because you need it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, my second audiology test. That was earlier on this week. So took myself down there, pretty sure I was going to get some bad news. Saw a nice lady there once again. She asked me the questions about what I was struggling with, what I did for a living, etc. Made plenty of notes. Sticks the headphones onto me, and they kind of turn you around so you can't see what they're doing, so you can't see when they're pressing the buttons and the machine's going ping in the background, so you can't cheat. So I'm sat there with these headphones on, staring at a wall. And it was quite good fun actually, trying to Could I really hear that one? I'm kind of guessing sometimes, you know, taking a bit of a chance pressing this button. Can I really hear that? Or am I hearing my fucking tinnitus, you know? Because a lot of the beeps and clunks you get sounded like the tinnitus. Anyway, this went on for about 20 minutes. And she spins me around and says, okay, here's the situation. She showed me a little chart on her computer, which I've got a printout of, and I'll stick that on the screen for you to take a look at now. So as you can see, the damage to my ears comes under the moderate category, you know, so it's not severe. There's still hope for me yet, you know, oh, I say hope, time for it to get fucking worse, right? But it's okay, it's moderate, it's not, probably not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I guess. I thought it was probably going to be a bit worse than that, but it's that dip around about 4K. That's where I knew the damage was going to be, because that's cymbals, okay? That's the stuff that really hurts your ears. And true to form, it has got that big dip there. So what they said to me was this, would you like to try some hearing aids, Grandad? So I thought, you know what, I can't put this off anymore. I can't carry on kidding myself that I can get by, and I'm not fucking other people off by going, hey, what, all the time. So I've said to them, okay, let's give it a go. Order a setup for me, and I'll give them a try. So the situation now is this. I'm going to go back over to the audiology department next Tuesday. So what is this? Thursday today, so it's only a few days away, isn't it? Not so bad. They're going to give me some National Health Service deaf aids to try out. Don't take the fucking piss, all right? It's not one of these big old beige boxes that sits on the front of your shirt anymore with a big microphone and a speaker in it that goes into your ears. A little bit more refined. Although not the most refined, you know. It's still going to be all these things that kind of sits over my ear and sits behind here where my glasses are. So I'm not sure how I'll get on with that, or even if I like it. You can get these tiny little things that are kind of, you know, like so big that you just sit into your ears, completely independent of any, you know, sort of speakers or microphones. But they cost an absolute bloody fortune, right? I did a little bit of looking around, not too much, because I don't want to frighten myself so much. But you can pay £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 for these things. Although you can get some kind of knockoff crappy ones off, you know, Amazon for about 70 or 80 quid, I guess. But look, I've decided I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to bite my lip and decide that I really am old enough and decrepit enough that I need to do something about it and get a hearing aid. Next Tuesday is the day. So I'm going to pause this little bit of video now. For me, it'll be 5 days or so. For you, just a few seconds, and we'll see how it went, okay? So it's a week later. I've been back to audiology for my appointment, spoke to the people there, got checked out again, and I've got my new hearing aids. In the words of Cliff Richard, I am indeed wired for sound. Can you see? Take a look in there, look. Can you see the little tube that comes down over the back there? And on the top of my ear, there we go, a little kind of plasticky bit that fits behind my ear. I'm really surprised. I was expecting these things to be absolutely horrible. I was expecting to hate them. But you know what? I think it's been a good move. I'm really pleased. I can hear things differently, okay? When you get fitted one of these things, I'm possibly jumping ahead of myself here, but I'm quite excited. When you get fitted for one of these things, it doesn't restore your hearing. It doesn't, you know, bring things back to life for you. What it does is it kind of enhances things a bit, yeah? So what they do is they get these things out of the box, and this is where I was surprised. I thought it was just going to be a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, you know. Here's your hearing aid, put it on, turn it up, turn it down, that's it, see ya. But no. It would seem that things in the world of deafness have moved on quite a bit, because what they do is they get these things out of the box and they specifically set them for your hearing requirements, okay? So if you've got particular dips in certain frequencies or at certain points, they kind of plug them into the computer and set them so that they just adapt those particular bits for your hearing, which is quite clever, isn't it? So in my case, like we said earlier on, I've got that kind of big dip at about 4K thanks to drummers and their cymbals going in my ears for years and years. They just adapt it to kind of emphasize and put those bits up in the volume for you. It's really clever. So Give me a minute, I'll take these things out and you can see exactly what I've got, and we'll talk through them in a little bit more detail, okay? These are my deaf aids. Look at that. They're quite smart, aren't they? But like so many things in life, you know, when you see them for real, they're not as big as you thought they were going to be. There we go. They were misses. Plectrum for scale. So they're not, you know, they're not huge. They're not like these microscopic ones that you can spend 4 or 5 grand on and you stuff in your ears and nobody can see them whatsoever. But to be fair, they are still pretty discreet. When I've got them stuck on my lug holes, if you stood at the side of me or the front of me, you really can't see, you know. You've got the actual kind of amplifier bit itself there with a couple of little switches on it. And then this is the little tube bit here with a little knobbly bit on the end there which goes into your lug hole. And that's the bit that takes a little bit of getting used to, you know, that little bit there can be a little bit uncomfortable till you get your head around it. But a couple of days in, it's getting there now. I'm not too bad. You just got to get it in just the right spot, you know, because if you don't, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But the best thing of all is you don't have to work all the kind of controls and things off the actual earpiece themselves, because you get an app on your phone. And if I turn these things on, which I do by kind of pushing the little button on the back of them there we go. Try to do this one-handed, isn't working. Let's see if the app finds them and they connect. Connected, there you go. And you get this thing here where you can look at all the different bits and pieces you can do with it. So, you know, there's the sound enhancer, so you can adjust the kind of bass and the treble and the middle and all the other kind of bits and pieces. A little EQ, that's quite good, isn't it? Quite like that. And then you can get to save your own preferences for it. So on my, you know, you start off with things like settings for being in restaurants or listening to music, because the things will actually connect to your phone and you can stream your music and shit if that's how it works for you. I don't like that. I like records, so I'm not sure that works. But there you go. You can get your own settings on there that you've saved, which I've got saved as, excitingly, setting 1. And if I click on that somewhere, there you go. That's how it's set. So I've got mine set, so there's a little bit more bottom end on it because they're a little bit tinny, you know, when you first get them set up. And that's it. You set it up so you've got your noise reduction on there so that there's no kind of real kind of bad background noise, and wind reduction. You need that because if you wear these things outside, because there's no baffle on them, let me show you, where the actual kind of, you know, the audio bit goes in there. There's no baffle on it, so if it's a little bit windy, you can get a bit of wind noise, but that cuts it out. So that's quite cool, isn't it? There you go. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be trying to use my big, fat, knackered, busted fingers to adjust everything in, you know, on here. But it's not like that. It's all done via the power of your mobile phone. So here we are. A man of 56 years old who's been losing his hearing for years and years thanks to abuse of music, getting excited about a hearing aid. Honestly, whoever would have thought it would fucking come to this, right? But listen, I've got to say, time will tell, won't it, how we get on with these things. But at this moment in time, I'm really glad that I've done it. It's made a bit of a difference, especially around the house, you know. I'm not sure if I'll use these things when I'm out playing music, because it's just one more thing to fucking go wrong, isn't it? You know, one more thing that's in the mix there that could potentially pack up and give me all sorts of grief. So I probably won't use them when I'm playing music. But here at home, in the house, it's good. It kind of amplifies the television volume a little bit. There's even settings on there so you can, you know, set it to listen to music, or when you're outside in a restaurant, or if you're out in the kind of wilderness and there's a bit of noise and stuff. It's really clever. And I've got to say, I wish I'd done this sooner, you know. There's still that part of me that thinks I'm too groovy and I'm too fucking cool to be messing around with all this old man stuff. But it's not the case, is it? And I'm looking at you out there as well, you that's struggling with your hearing. Let me tell you now, none of your friends want to tell you, but you really are old enough, and you were never cool in the first fucking place, right? So get the hearing aids. Stop shouting at people. Stop fucking your family and your wife and your kids off, you know? Get some, give it a go. It's worth it, I think. I mean, I'm very lucky that here in Wales, you know, we've got the National Health Service. It's great. And I've seen reviews where people have spoke about these things, have said it took them months and months and months to get these things sorted out. But I got lucky. I got in for an appointment really quickly. and I got offered a cancellation appointment for the first audiology appointment, which I took. And, you know, to be fair, when they did that first assessment for me, they said, well, you can come back the next day if you want and we'll sort these things out. But I couldn't make it, so I had to wait another week. But I can't fault it. It took a month to get this sorted out. And I'm very pleased, you know. I know I've waffled on a bit and this video's gone for quite a long time, but I hope it's been useful to you. You know, if you're a musician like me and you've been playing for a long time and you're having grief with your ears, you know, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter if you're only 30, 40, 50, whatever. Don't think it's something that only old people can do, yeah? I know I'm cracking on a bit, but don't worry about it. If you're watching this, the demographics on my YouTube feed tell me you're probably round about a similar age to me, okay? So I'm none of a young and groovy anymore, are we? Get yourself an appointment, check it out. You might surprise yourself. They might say to you, everything's fine, don't worry about it. But then again, you might be able to help yourself and stop things getting worse, you know? Check it out. Give it some serious thought. Take it from me. You know, learn from my mistakes. I would never, ever tell anybody to turn the fucking music down. If you want to listen to it loud, fucking go for it. Because the music, you need to feel it, right? It's got to be loud sometimes, hasn't it? So you can enjoy it. So make the best of it. But be warned, somewhere down the line, you're going to end up like me, like fucking Robocop, putting things in your ears that you've got to use gadgets to adjust the volume on, okay? Thanks for listening. You see what I did there? Thanks for coming. I hope the video's been useful to you. If it's not, c'est la vie, eh? We've only wasted half an hour of each other's time, haven't we? Take it easy. Don't let the bastards grind you down. And we'll speak soon, okay? See you later.